Kingdom Hearts is a series of action role-playing games developed by Square Enix that has had a continuous storyline progressing since the first game in the series, which debuted on the PlayStation 2 in Japan in 2002, with an American release several months later. While other long-running game series, such as Super Mario Bros., The Legend of Zelda, King's Quest, and so on, have returning themes, characters, or storylines, Kingdom Hearts stands out as a series in which almost every game in the series has continued or expanded upon the central plot continuously, with many plotlines only being wrapped up earlier this year with 2019's Kingdom Hearts 3. However, unless you've been familiar with the series for some time now, the long-developing plot is unlikely to be the key feature you'd recognize about the series. Rather, one might describe Kingdom Hearts as
that one series with the anime characters and the Disney characters, right? And wait, is that Skrillex doing music for the new game? Why is this happening?
And you'd be forgiven for such a summary. Indeed, much of the conversation about the series is regarding its use of Square Enix's Final Fantasy characters and the various worlds and characters from Disney and, as of Kingdom Hearts 3, Pixar properties, as well as the series' use of music. In thinking about the rhetorical aspects of Kingdom Hearts, it's important to consider its necessary adherence to Disney aesthetics. To briefly and inadequately summarize the franchise, Kingdom Hearts follows a young boy named Sora who, until the Call to Adventure stage of the hero's journey, lives with his friends Riku and Kairi on the Destiny Islands under seemingly zero parental supervision. Suddenly their world is destroyed by darkness. Big ol' vague darkness! And Sora reawakens in a world surrounded by other strangers who have lost their homeworlds. Strangers including Final Fantasy 7 and 8 characters, Merlin from The Sword and the Stone, and a pair of Disney characters sent by King Mickey, yes, that Mickey, to save the other worlds from darkness. Donald, Duck, and Goofy, for some reason. Joining Donald and Goofy, Sora seeks to find his missing friends, traveling to various Disney worlds and fighting off the threatening darkness with his new weapon, the Keyblade, a magical key-shaped weapon that has the ability to free the heart stolen by the Heartless, which are the creatures of the aforementioned darkness, and lock the keyhole in every world, thus sealing them from the darkness trying to get inside. And that's just the first game in the series.
This is an insane amount to get memorized!
Throughout the series, the player progresses through the game by traveling between worlds both original to the series and also worlds based on a variety of Disney movies, in which Sora and company usually team up with the protagonists of the movie in order to defeat the Heartless who have paired with that movie's antagonists. Depending on the world, the player might have the opportunity to act out a role in a Kingdom Hearts retelling of an entire Disney film, a specific scene in a film, or an entirely new scenario based on existing properties. In the newest game, Kingdom Hearts 3, the player follows nearly all the main story of Tangled, a number of key scenes from Frozen, including a scene where the player simply watches Elsa sing Let It Go from afar.
Wow. I don't know what we just saw, but wow.
And plays out an entirely new story in the Toy Story universe fighting alongside Buzz and Woody. This act of stepping into the story that the player is already familiar with and tweaking it just enough to keep it interesting does a number of interesting things, and maybe one of the definitive experiences of the series overall. This act of stepping into the story sounds a lot like what Benjamin writes when he says that the desire of the present-day masses is to get closer to things, overcoming each thing's uniqueness by assimilating it as a reproduction. By having the player get to step into the world of a movie they're already familiar with and interact with the environment, they're about as close as being able to interact in that space as they possibly could be outside of visiting a theme park. And yet, even the physical rendering of an animated world isn't quite the same in terms of reproduction. Here, the digital space actually acts as a window in which this reality is more real than reality. In order to help the player feel more authentically a part of each Disney world they visit, the animation style and music change for each level to better match the Disney property the world is based off of, even going as far as changing the design of the characters from time to time, such as when Sora is transformed into a lion for the Lion King level, or dressed up as a pirate for the Pirates of the Caribbean levels. Though there is no saving what Donald and Goofy look like, they are anomalies in the space-time continuum, and they're... Timeless River, the world based on the 1928 black and white animated short Steamboat Willie, is a noteworthy example of the developers' efforts to reproduce the aesthetic of a Disney world. Character models for the main trio are changed upon entering the world, with Donald and Goofy appearing more like how they were originally designed, The colors in the menu bars are muted, and sound effects and dialogue are played in mono rather than in stereo, with little audio distortions to make the game sound more old-timey.
Oh, I miss those good old days.
While not every level goes through this much trouble to help the player fit in, most try to at least make the player not stand out too much, lending to the aura of authenticity rather than destroying it with their presence. With each Disney world the player visits, the world's musical score will change. It may be a new rendition of a song featured from a Disney movie on which the level is based, or in other cases, many cases, music simply inspired by the movie. For example, the Toy Box world featured in Kingdom Hearts 3, based upon the Toy Story franchise, has a theme based on Randy Newman's You've Got a Friend in Me, which was famously used in the first Toy Story film. And I'll never forgive them for making the background music feature a song with vocals, because the whole time I'm playing this level, I'm just singing, "You got a friend in me, you got a friend in me," and it's While the music used in Halloween Town is merely inspired by Danny Elfman's score for The Nightmare Before Christmas. Much like how Kingdom Hearts visuals try to mimic the art style in any Disney world the player visits, or what Boghost might call visual authenticity, styling the music after the source material helps immerse the player in their environment to make them feel a part of the story. The music is composed by Yoko Shimomura, who is famous for her work on Street Fighter II, Legend of Mana, and most recently Final Fantasy XV, on which she was attached to the project throughout its 10-year development period. Beyond simply reproducing or reimagining classic Disney themes throughout the games also feature their own original scores, which helps to place the player in a new space in which each of these worlds are interconnected in some way. Removing instances of music from non-Disney areas of the game would have been an interesting rhetorical choice and would have further spurred the player into wanting to reach the next world as quickly as possible to avoid the crushing silence, but to do so would be to diminish the value of the original worlds and spaces created for the game. As Rickert wrote, ambient music sounds out the importance of place in conceiving not just Rhetorics' performative work, but also rhetoricity itself as worldly affectability prior to symbolicity. By creating ambient music for menu screens, in-game shops, and interplanetary travel, each facet of the game is marked with a degree of significance. Perhaps in an effort to atone for the sin of how terribly unwieldy the underwater combat was in the first Kingdom Hearts game, Kingdom Hearts 2's trip to the Little Mermaid-inspired Atlantica level was decidedly made to be a music rhythm level. At various points in the level, players would perform a musical number from or inspired by the film, pressing on-screen buttons in sync with the music. The actions performed on screen based on these action time events would change depending on the context. At several points in the game, Sora, Donald, and Goofy will perform underwater acrobatics or clap in time with the music, while at the end of the Atlantic adventure, the player is using rhythm to successfully attack the Sea Witch Ursula in an operatic battle sequence. Which was hilarious to do, honestly. I can't even fault it for that. In How to Do Things with Video Games, Boghost identifies that games that interact with music by operating a device that intersects with musical performance but does not mirror it, this video game offers what the philosopher Slavoj Žižek calls parallax view, a shifting perspective between 2 points without synthesis. In this example, we see just that. Not a game in which the player is trying to replicate a musical performance, but one in which the player is once again experiencing the world of Kingdom Hearts in a new way. Moments that alter the core mechanics of gameplay appear often in the series, and help the player create new meanings through how they interact with the games. Finally, I'd be remiss not to mention the contributions to the series by Utada Hikaru, an accomplished Japanese-American singer-songwriter who has contributed multiple songs to the game. Hikaru's contributions to the series are unique in that each Kingdom Hearts numbered game in the series has its own theme song, with Kingdom Hearts 3 actually getting 2 with the help of... yeah, that guy. These themes are then reused in other games in the series, which utilizes song to introduce what point in the series the game is taking place, since the Kingdom Hearts franchise is consistently growing and releasing games out of chronological order to the story.
See? Major brain ache.
This way, when you hear Simple and Clean, you can assume that the game takes place somewhere around Kingdom Hearts 1, whereas if you hear Sanctuary, you'll know that the game takes place closer to Kingdom Hearts 2, which is the song that was used for that game. Utada Hikaru had a successful career long before Kingdom Hearts ever came out, so it's not like Kingdom Hearts launched her career or anything, but the inclusion of a successful Japanese-American songwriter providing music for the game synced well with the game's ethos of using popular celebrities at the time, which is why the series features such a star-studded cast. This is by no means a comprehensive list of all the interesting examples of music from the series, but it does serve to illustrate some of the more interesting rhetorical themes that recur throughout the series. Later I might take some time to go over how the use of visuals add to the air of authenticity in these games, or how Kingdom Hearts acts as a weird commercial for the Disney enterprise / monopoly that is consistently growing, and I'm more excited for new levels than I'm worried about monopolistic takeover? Anyway, go play the game, stop listening to me talk about it. If you haven't already played the game, maybe don't. Don't get sucked into this. There's too many games, there's too much time, too many hours in the day. But if you do want to spend some time revisiting classic Disney worlds while watching Donald and Goofy not really help you alongside your journey, then knock yourself out, I guess. Go for it. I'm just a voice on the internet. You go live your life. I don't care. Okay, bye.